They abandoned the little alien girl until a human heard her weakly calling, "Mama." The baggage conveyor kicked twice beneath Eli Mercer's boots, then stopped with a metallic thud. "Perfect," he muttered. Above him, Cinder Junction was doing its best impression of organized disaster. Cargo tractors crawled across the transfer floor. Passenger announcements overlapped in 4 languages. Dark crews shouted clearance numbers over whining engines. Somewhere behind the bulkhead, a damaged transport was being dragged away from berth 19, its outer hull blackened from the raid that had hit it less than an hour earlier. Eli had been told the passengers were safe. He had also been told his parcel containers would be released in 10 minutes. That had been 38 minutes ago. He crouched beside the jammed belt, reached beneath a dented guide plate, and pulled free a strip of torn packing fabric. The conveyor shuddered back to life. A loader somewhere above gave him a thumbs up. Eli stood. Then he heard it. "Mama." He turned. A cargo cart rattled past. 2 mechanics argued beside an open service panel. A station announcement ordered passengers for Dark 12 to report immediately. Eli frowned. For a second, he thought he had imagined the sound. Then it came again. "Mama." Weak, small, almost swallowed by the machinery. Eli stepped away from the conveyor. "Kill that belt." The loader leaned over the rail. "What?" "Stop the belt. We just got it moving." "Stop it." Something in Eli's voice made the loader obey. The machinery wound down. The transfer deck never became quiet. Cinder Junction did not know how to become quiet, but the noise dropped enough for Eli to hear the faint scrape beneath his boots. He crouched. "Hello." "Nothing." Eli pressed one hand against the deck plating. "Can you hear me?" A pause. Then, softer than before. "Mama." His stomach tightened. He dropped flat and looked beneath the conveyor frame. Darkness, loose cargo webbing, a broken luggage container, and far behind the support braces, 2 large eyes reflecting the work lights. Eli froze. The child froze too. She was tiny, maybe 6. Gray-blue skin. 2 short ridges swept backward above her temples. Dark hair hung across one side of her face. One sleeve of her travel coat was torn, and she had pulled her knees against her chest so tightly that she almost disappeared between the machinery. Eli slowly moved his hands where she could see them. "Hi." The girl stared. "My name's Eli." No response. "I heard you." Her eyes shifted toward the conveyor above her. Eli suddenly understood exactly what she was afraid of. He looked over his shoulder. "Main power off," he called. The loader groaned. "Mercer." "Off." A second later, the status lamps along the conveyor went dark. Eli looked back beneath the frame. "There, it can't move." The little girl swallowed. "Mama." "I know." She pointed past him. "No, Mama." Eli's chest tightened. "You were with your mother." A tiny nod. "Did you get separated when the transport arrived?" The girl's expression changed. Fear was still there, but something sharper pushed through it. She shook her head. "They take." Eli went still. "Who?" She pointed toward the docking levels. "Bad men. The raid." Eli lowered himself onto one elbow. "Did they take your mother?" Another nod. He looked over his shoulder at the half-empty transfer lane, then back at the child. "And they left you here." The girl pressed herself deeper into the shadows. They say slow. For one ugly second, Eli understood the entire decision. Adults could be ransomed. A frightened child could not move fast enough. So the raiders had taken the mother and discarded the daughter. Eli felt something cold settle behind his ribs. He kept his voice calm. "What's your name?" The girl hesitated. "Kessa." "Kessa, I'm going to get you out." Her eyes widened. "No go. You don't have to go anywhere you don't want to." She shook her head harder. "Mama, come." Eli understood. She was staying exactly where she had last seen her mother, because children believed grown-ups returned to the place where they had lost them. He sat back. "All right." The loader above called. "What did you find?" Eli raised a hand, without looking away from Kessa. "Get station medical and dark control. Tell them we have a child survivor from the 19 raid." Kessa's eyes immediately filled with panic. "No." Eli leaned closer. Hey, nobody is taking you away. They take Mama. I know. Mama, come here. Eli glanced toward the docking level. Then he made a choice. He crawled backward until he could stand, pulled off his work jacket, and returned. He pushed the folded jacket beneath the conveyor. You don't have to come out yet, but I'm going to sit right here. Kessa looked at the jacket, then at him. You heard me. The question hit harder than he expected. Yes. Her voice became almost a whisper. Others know. Eli glanced at the transfer workers passing overhead. Thousands of footsteps, thousands of voices, thousands of people moving through one of the busiest junctions in the sector. And beneath all of it, one 6-year-old girl had been calling for the only person she knew would come back. I heard you, Eli repeated. Kessa stared at him for several seconds. Then she reached for the jacket. That was the first thing she accepted from him. It took another 7 minutes before she crawled out. Eli did not touch her until she reached for his wrist. Even then, he only offered his hand. She wrapped 4 small fingers around 2 of his. Station medic Myra Saul arrived with a scanner and immediately stopped when she saw the child. Oh, is he? Eli warned. Myra nodded. She sat on the floor. Hi, Kessa. Kessa moved behind Eli's leg. Myra glanced at him. Eli gave the smallest shake of his head. No pushing. No crowding. Myra understood. Can I check your arm? Kessa looked down at the torn sleeve, then up at Eli. He shrugged. Your choice. After a moment, Kessa held out her arm. The scanner passed over it. Myra's expression relaxed slightly. Bruising, dehydration starting. Nothing serious enough to explain that voice. Kessa immediately asked, Mama. Myra's face changed. Eli answered before she could. We're finding out. Dark Controller Jalen Price arrived at a run. He was a broad man with a shaved head and the permanently tired expression of someone responsible for several thousand moving vehicles. Mercer. Price. I heard you found a survivor. Eli stepped aside. Price saw Kessa and stopped. Station count showed every passenger from 19 accounted for or transferred to medical. Count's wrong. Price crouched several feet away. Kessa, I'm Jalen. I run the docks. She did not respond. Eli said, her mother was taken. Price looked at him. Taken. Raiders pulled adults off the transport. They left Kessa under the baggage deck because she was slowing them down. Price's tiredness disappeared. How sure are you? Kessa pointed upward. They take Mama. Price looked at her, then at Eli. That sure. He stood and tapped his wrist terminal. Control, reopen the 19 incident file. I need every departure from that berth cluster after the emergency seal lifted. A voice answered through his terminal. Controller, security already swept local space. Radar contact broke 26 minutes ago. Then sweep it again. Confirmed. Price turned back. What does your mother look like, Kessa? Kessa's grip tightened around Eli's fingers. Mama. Do you know her name? Sova. Full name. Kessa looked confused. Eli said, just Sova is enough for now. Price nodded. Species. Narath, Myra answered. Price opened the transport manifest. 23 Narath, adults aboard. Kessa looked up suddenly. Mama, coat, yellow. Price paused. Yellow coat. Kessa touched her own chest. Yellow, black here. She drew a line across her shoulder. Eli remembered something. The transport passengers were brought through Transfer C. Price nodded. Yes. Security cameras. Damaged during the raid. All of them. Price looked at him. No. Within 6 minutes, they were inside Dark Control. Kessa refused to release Eli's hand, so she came too. Cinder Junction spread across the forward display wall like a glowing mechanical city. Hundreds of moving points marked ships. Blue for docked, green for cleared, white for inbound, amber for delayed, red for security holds. Kessa stopped beneath the enormous display. So many. Yeah, Eli said. Which Mama? The room went quiet. Price pulled up the surviving Transfer C cameras. The footage jumped. Passengers running. Security shutters lowering. Dark workers directing civilians. Then the raiders appeared. 6 figures in dark pressure gear moved through the crowd. 2 carried compact shock weapons. The others pushed captured passengers ahead of them. Kessa made a small sound. Eli immediately reached for the screen controls. You want it off? No. She stepped closer. Her grip hurt now. There. A woman in a yellow travel coat appeared for 3 seconds. Tall, grey-blue skin. Same short temple ridges as Kessa. She was twisting against the raider, holding her arm. Her mouth formed one word. Kessa. Then the footage skipped. When it returned, the corridor was empty. Kessa stared. She look. Eli looked at the frame. Yeah. At me. She was trying to get back to you. Kessa's eyes stayed on the frozen image. She no leave. Eli felt the room hold still. No, he said. She didn't leave you. Kessa took a shaky breath. For the first time since Eli had found her, some part of the fear in her face loosened. Only some. Because now she understood a different problem. Mama bad ship. Price turned to the traffic board. We're working on that. A technician called from the far station. Controller, I've got 6 unidentified departures from auxiliary lanes after the raid. 4 were local work craft. 1 tug. 1 private hauler. Private hauler registry. Transponder says bright current. Eli frowned. I know that ship. Price glanced at him. You do. I passed it coming in. Ugly grey box with orange engine guards. Kessa's head snapped up. Orange. Everyone looked at her. She pointed excitedly. Bad ship orange. Big orange. Price moved to her level. You saw the ship. Kessa nodded. Door open. Mama go. Orange. The technician enlarged the bright current. 2 bright orange housings protected its rear maneuvering drives. Price's jaw tightened. Where is it? The technician's fingers moved, then stopped. Departure spine 7. How long to outer release? 19 minutes. Security cutter. Closest is cutter 29, returning from the false contact. Time. 24 minutes. Price swore quietly. Eli looked at the traffic display. Spine 7 passes dark 41. Yes. My courier's at 43. Price turned. No. I didn't ask yet. I know what you're about to ask. My launch clearance is still active. No. Kessa identified the ship, and I'm forwarding that identification to security. They're 5 minutes too late. Price stared at the board. We can lock the spine, not without stopping 37 civilian ships behind it. I know how my station works, Mercer, and I know what happens in 19 minutes. Price lowered his voice. You are a parcel pilot. Correct. You do not chase raiders. I'm not planning to chase anybody. That sentence worries me more. Kessa tugged Eli's hand. He looked down. She pointed at the bright current. Mama there. Eli hesitated. Price answered carefully. We think so. Get Mama. 3 words. No speech. No dramatic plea. Just the next obvious step in Kessa's world. Eli looked at Price. I can reach spine 7 in 8 minutes. And do what? Make sure bright current doesn't leave in 19. Price's eyes narrowed. No weapons. None. No heroic collisions. I like my ship. No boarding. I like myself too. Price stared at him for another second. Then he turned to his console. Your clearance remains civilian. Eli said nothing. I did not authorize pursuit. Understood. I did not tell you that Spine 7 traffic control automatically slows ships when an active courier declares unstable cargo. Eli looked innocent. Wouldn't dream of suggesting it. And if someone falsely declared unstable cargo, I would personally find them enough to make them miserable. Terrifying. Price pointed at him. Bring my station back in one piece. You own all of it. Today it feels like it. Eli crouched in front of Kessa. You stay here with Jalen and Myra. No. Kessa. No. You can't come. Her face closed. Mama. I know. You go, Mama. Yes. Me go. Eli looked at Myra. Myra shook her head firmly. Price said, absolutely not. Kessa's lower lip trembled, but she did not cry. Eli hated that more. He took both her hands. Kessa, listen to me. I need to fly. Jalen needs to watch the whole station. Myra needs to keep you safe. You know what that means. She shook her head. It means we're all doing different jobs for the same thing. Mama. For Mama. Kessa looked at the ship marker. Then she reached into the small pocket of her torn coat. She pulled out a flat plastic token, a child's transit game piece. Eli immediately shook his head. You keep that. She ignored him and pointed at the bright current. 3 lights. What? Bad ship. She touched 3 corners of the token. 3 white lights, door side. Eli looked at Price. Price enlarged the recorded ship image. On the port cargo door were 3 small white maintenance lamps arranged in a triangle. The transponder could be copied. The paint could be changed. That little pattern was harder to fake by accident. Eli smiled. That helps. Kessa closed her fingers around the token again. 3 lights. I'll remember. He stood. As he turned away, she caught his sleeve. Eli looked back. Kessa whispered, "Tell Mama I call." His throat tightened. "I will." Then he ran. His courier, the Wayfarer Finch, was built for deliveries nobody else wanted. Too small for bulk freight. Too ugly for passenger service. Too stubborn to retire. Eli loved it. He hit the cockpit at a run, sealed the hatch, and brought the engines online. Price's voice came through immediately. "Mercer, you miss me already. Bright current just increased departure priority. They know. Possibly. Security inquiries may have tipped them. Outer release. 16 minutes. Eli guided the Finch clear of Dock 43. Civilian traffic surrounded him. Passenger shuttles, ore carriers, maintenance craft, 2 enormous colony transports that looked like moving apartment blocks. The bright current was somewhere ahead, hidden among them. Control. Finch requesting direct merge to 7. Denied. Another controller answered. Price cut in. Correction. Approved under emergency courier exception. Eli smiled. Thought you didn't authorize pursuit. I authorized you getting out of my docking lane before you hit something. Your confidence is inspiring. The Finch shot through the merge corridor. Not dangerously. Not elegantly either. It moved the way a delivery pilot moved when a customer had paid extra for urgent, and then called every 6 minutes to ask where the package was. Eli passed 2 cargo barges and entered Spine 7. The traffic tunnel was not a physical tunnel. It was a controlled route through the huge station's outer framework, marked by navigation lights and sensor gates. Far ahead, ships queued for release. Eli scanned. Gray hull. Orange engine guards. Nothing. Price. Tracking is messy. Bright current reduced transponder output. That legal? No. Good sign. It is a terrible sign. Eli leaned closer to the forward glass. Ships moved in layers. Then he saw 3 tiny lights. White. Triangle. Left side of a gray hull. There. Price responded immediately. Visual. 3 lights on the port cargo door. Kessa's clue. Confirmed, Price said. That's our ship. Eli's humor disappeared. Any sign of the captives? None. Bright current was 6 vessels ahead. Too far to reach before release, unless the line slowed. Eli tapped his cargo board. Empty. Mostly. 1 crate of precision glass couplings sat locked behind him. Completely stable. Extremely boring. He opened the station emergency channel. Cinder control. Courier Finch declaring cargo containment concern. Price sighed loudly over the private channel. You're going to make me fill out so much paperwork. The public controller answered. Finch, state concern. Possible lock failure in precision freight bay. That part was technically true. Anything was possible. Hazard class. Fragile industrial. Biological. No. Chemical. No. Radiological. No. A pause. So glass. Very expensive glass. Price muttered privately. I hate you. The controller said. Finch, reduce speed and divert. Eli watched the bright current continue. His first idea was not enough. Then another voice broke onto the channel. Control, bright current requesting immediate release clearance. Medical priority. Eli stared. Price said, that priority code is false. Can you cancel it? Working. Outer gate. 12 minutes. Bright current moved ahead of 2 waiting freighters. The raiders were jumping the line. Eli abandoned subtlety. Control, Finch withdrawing cargo concern. Price said, "That was the fastest repair in history. I'm talented." Eli accelerated. The Finch moved around a slow tanker and gained 2 positions. Bright Current was 4 vessels ahead now. A heavy transport blocked the route between them. "Mercer," Price warned, "security is 7 minutes out." "Gate 9. Still late. You need delay, not victory." "Good, I'm bad at victory." Bright Current suddenly shifted lanes. Price's voice sharpened. "They're leaving controlled departure." "Where does that take them?" "Service gap between spines 7 and 8. Can they reach open space?" "If they clear the framework." "That sounds bad." "It is extremely bad." The gray ship rolled away from the traffic lane. Civilian vessels immediately scattered from its path. A warning flashed across Eli's console. "Unauthorized maneuver." The Finch followed. "Mercer, you said delay." "I also said no heroic collisions." "Still planning to keep the paint." The Bright Current was faster than the Finch. Not much faster. Enough. It moved toward the station framework, where enormous support beams formed a maze around the outer docks. Eli saw the plan. The raiders did not need to outrun security forever. They only needed to break sensor contact long enough to jump away outside the station perimeter. Price closed the gap route. "Can't maintenance traffic inside it." "Clear them." "Doing it." Bright Current transmitted suddenly. "Human courier, break off." Eli blinked. "Oh, they noticed me." The voice was male, rough, controlled. "This does not concern you." Eli keyed his transmitter. "You left a kid under my conveyor." Silence. Then, "The child is alive. That your defense." "We took no children." "You took her mother." Another pause. "That matter is business." Eli looked at the 3 white lights on the ship ahead. "No," he said. "It became my business when she asked me to find her." Bright Current accelerated. Eli followed. Price said, "Mercer, that was probably Rusk Valen." "Know him." Security just matched the voice. "Small ransom crew, multiple systems. Violent. Enough that I'm repeating this. Do not board them." "Not planning to." "Security cutter is 5 minutes out." "Where's Bright Current?" 3 minutes from the framework edge." Eli frowned. Math he disliked. Then he saw a station tug moving across the service gap. Big. Slow. Bright yellow. It was towing 3 empty cargo frames. "Price." "No. You don't even know." "I know your voice." "Can that tug turn?" "Eventually." "Tell it to cross Bright Current's line." "That risks the tug." "Not close. Just enough to make Valen choose." Price went silent. Then the tug began moving. Slowly. Bright Current adjusted immediately. Exactly as Eli hoped. Not much. Just a few degrees. But those few degrees pushed it toward another maintenance lane. "Why does that help?" Price asked. "Because he's flying scared now. And scared pilots look for empty space." Eli knew Cinder Junction because he had been stuck there too many times. He knew which lanes looked open. He knew which ones actually were. Ahead of Bright Current was a broad dark corridor between 2 station structures. Empty, inviting, and closed at the far end by an inspection field. Valen turned into it. Price understood. "Oh, you sneaky. Can you power the inspection field?" "It's already powered." Bright Current saw the field too late. The ship braked hard. Its engines flared orange. It could turn around, but turning around took time. That was all Eli needed. "Security cutter 2 minutes," Price said. Bright Current rotated. Now it faced the Finch. Eli's console screamed. "Targeting alert." His stomach dropped. "That's new." "Mercer, get out." A bright pulse crossed the space between the ships. It missed wide. Eli did not wait for another. He threw the Finch behind a station support structure. The second pulse struck the framework several hundred meters away, scattering harmless sparks from an armored plate. Price's voice went cold. "Weapons discharge confirmed. Station defense responding." Eli peered around the support beam. Bright Current reversed away from the inspection field, then stopped. A Cinder security cutter dropped into the lane behind it. Another appeared from above. Red security lights washed across the grey hull. A station voice filled every channel. Bright current, engines idle, weapons cold, prepare for inspection. Rusk Valen answered. We have civilians aboard. Eli's hands tightened around his controls. Price said, that's why station defense won't fire unless necessary. Can he use them to get out? No. You sure? No. Eli hated that answer. Bright current began drifting sideways. One cutter matched it. Another blocked the route. For 30 seconds, nobody moved. Then Valen transmitted again. Human. Eli did not answer. You found the child. Still nothing. You want her mother. Eli keyed the channel. I'm pretty sure Kessa wants her more. A pause. Then take her. The bright current's cargo door opened. Eli's breath caught. Price. Hold position. A small transfer capsule launched from the ship. Security scanners locked onto it. Life signs, Price said. Multiple. The capsule moved toward the station. Bright current immediately turned the opposite direction. Decoy, Eli shouted. The security cutter hesitated. Only a second. But Valen used it. His ship surged toward the outer gap. The second cutter followed. Eli looked at the transfer capsule. Who's inside? Scanning. 6 civilians. Sova. No identification yet. Bright current was escaping. The capsule was drifting toward a recovery dock. Eli had another choice. Follow the raiders. Or stay with the people they had released. The answer came quickly. Kessa did not need Rusk Valen. She needed her mother. Price, I'm going to the capsule. Good. The Finch turned. The capsule was tumbling slowly. Eli matched its movement and stayed nearby until a rescue tug captured it. He watched through the cockpit glass as the capsule door opened. One adult stumbled out, then another. A Narith man, 2 human traders, a woman from a species Eli did not recognize, another Narith adult, yellow coat. No. Eli leaned forward. 6th passenger. A woman crawled through the hatch. Gray-blue skin, short temple ridges. Her travel coat was missing, but a black stripe crossed the shoulder of her shirt. Eli stared. Sova. Price's voice came immediately. Transfer records show Sova Wren, Narith, female, traveling with dependent Kessa Wren. Eli closed his eyes for 1 second. Tell Kessa. You tell her. What? She's standing beside me. Eli looked at his communications display. Price opened a video channel. Kessa appeared. She was standing on a chair in dark control. Myra had one hand close behind her without touching. Kessa's eyes were enormous. Eli pointed out his cockpit window, even though she could not see what he saw. We found her. Kessa stopped breathing for half a beat. Mama. She's here. Mama. She's safe. Kessa turned and jumped down from the chair. The video shook as Price followed. Where are you going? He asked. Mama. Kessa, the recovery dock is 3 levels. Myra, go with her. Eli laughed, despite himself. Then he looked back toward open space. Bright current was gone from sight. Valen. Price answered while moving. Security has him boxed against the outer perimeter. He's not your job anymore. Good. Come back. Eli looked at his parcel delivery clock. He was now 47 minutes late. Can I finish my route first? Mercer. Kidding. He turned the Finch toward Cinder Junction. By the time Eli reached Recovery Dock 4, Kessa was already there. She stood behind the safety line, with both hands gripping the rail. Myra beside her. Price behind them. The recovery tug locked into the dock. Pressure equalized. The inner door opened. The rescued passengers came through slowly. First, the human traders. Kessa stood on her toes. Then the unknown woman. Kessa looked around her. Then the Narith man. Kessa's face began to fall. Eli came to stand beside her. She's there. Kessa did not look at him. Another passenger emerged. Not Sova. Kessa whispered, no mama. Eli's certainty wavered. Price checked his terminal. She was in the capsule. Kessa gripped the rail harder. Then someone appeared in the doorway. A Narith woman. No coat. One sleeve torn. Hair loose around her face. For a second, She simply stood there, searching. Kessa became completely still. Sova saw her. The woman's entire body seemed to stop. Kessa. It was barely louder than breath. Kessa released the railing. Mama. The word that had been almost too weak to hear beneath a baggage conveyor now crossed the whole recovery dock. Kessa ran. So did Sova. They met halfway across the floor. Sova dropped to her knees and caught her daughter against her. Kessa wrapped both arms around her neck. For several seconds, neither of them said anything understandable. Sova kept touching Kessa's face, her hair, her shoulders, checking as if she could not trust her own eyes. Kessa spoke too fast. You go and bad men, and I wait and big machine, and Eli here and I call and you look back, and I see you look back, and Sova pressed her forehead against Kessa's. I came back. Kessa shook her head. No, Eli get you. Sova laughed once. It broke into something quieter. I tried. I know. You know. Picture. Sova looked confused. Kessa pointed toward dark control. Show picture, you look back. Sova closed her eyes. When she opened them, she looked toward Eli. He immediately found the far wall fascinating. Price stepped beside him. You can stop pretending you're not involved. I delivered one passenger complaint. You interfered with outbound traffic, falsified a cargo concern, chased an armed ransom crew through a service gap, and helped trap them against an inspection field. Sounds worse when you list it. It will sound even worse on the report. Am I fined? Probably. How much? I haven't decided how angry I am. Across the dock, Kessa was still talking. Her voice did not seem weak anymore. Sova held her hand and listened to every word. Eli smiled. Worth it. Price glanced at him. Security captured Valen. That was fast. He was so busy watching the cutters that he missed a station patrol coming from his blind side. Embarrassing. His crew surrendered. Good. Price studied Eli for a moment. You could have kept chasing. The mother was in the capsule. You didn't know that when you turned. No. Then why turn? Eli looked at the recovered passengers being checked by medics. Because the point wasn't catching him. Price followed his gaze to Kessa. Right. Sova approached several minutes later. Kessa stayed attached to her hand. Up close, Sova looked exhausted. There was a bruise along one temple, but she stood straight. You are Eli Mercer. That depends. Is this about the traffic violation? Sova stared at him. Then Kessa laughed. A small sound, but real. Sova looked down at her daughter, startled. Kessa pointed at Eli. He jokes bad. Accurate, Price said. Eli sighed. Everyone S against me. Sova looked back at him. My daughter says you heard her. Eli nodded. She was under the transfer conveyor. They put her there. I know. Sova's jaw tightened. I fought them when they separated us. One held me inside the cargo door. Kessa was on the deck. I saw her running after me. Kessa pressed against her mother's side. Sova put an arm around her. I thought they took her after. They told me they had. Eli looked away briefly. Cruelty did not always need elaborate plans. Sometimes it was just one lie told because it was convenient. Sova continued. I believed she was somewhere else on the ship. I kept asking where. They would not answer. She stayed where she last saw you. Sova closed her eyes. Yes, she called. Sova looked down at Kessa. The girl was tracing one finger along the black stripe on her mother's shirt. She told me. Eli remembered Kessa's request in dark control. Tell Mama I call. He crouched. Hey, Kessa. She looked at him. You asked me to tell her something. Kessa thought, then remembered. I call. Eli looked at Sova. She wanted you to know. She called for you. Sova's face changed. She lowered herself to Kessa's height. I know now. No here. No. Kessa considered that. Then she touched her mother's cheek. Eli here. Sova looked at him again. There were 100 grand things a person could have said at a moment like that. Eli did not trust any of them. So he shrugged. She was louder than she thinks. Kessa frowned. No. Price coughed to hide a laugh. Eli pointed at her. You're supposed to support my version. No, weak. Sova laughed. This time the sound stayed. Myra walked over. I need both of you in medical for full checks. Kessa tightened her grip. Sova immediately said, "Together." "Together," Myra confirmed. Kessa looked at Eli. "You come." Eli shook his head. "You've got Mama." Kessa looked at her mother, as if checking the statement. Sova squeezed her hand. Then Kessa looked back. "You work. I have parcels that were supposed to leave almost an hour ago." Kessa's eyes widened. "You late. Very bad. Extremely." She thought for a second. "Tell them, Mama." Eli blinked. "What? Mama reason?" Price laughed. Sova covered her mouth. Eli nodded solemnly. "I'll try that." Kessa seemed satisfied. Myra led them toward the medical corridor. Sova stopped after several steps. She returned, while Kessa waited with Myra. "I do not know what my people say for something like this," Sova said quietly. "You don't need to say anything." "I do." Eli waited. Sova looked back at her daughter. "We were traveling because I accepted a machine contract on Halen 4. I kept wondering if taking her across 3 systems was selfish. Then the raid happened. That wasn't your decision." "No, but parents collect blame very easily." Eli nodded. That sounded true. Sova continued. "When they took me, I thought the worst thing in the universe was knowing my child was frightened somewhere I could not reach." She looked at Eli. "You reached her." Eli rubbed the back of his neck. "I was standing in the right place." "No." He started to argue. Sova shook her head. "There were many people in the right place." Eli had no answer to that. Sova held out her hand. He shook it. Her grip was firm. "Thank you for hearing her." Eli nodded. "That part I can take credit for." Sova released him. Then she went back to Kessa. That was where she belonged. 3 hours later, Cinder Junction had returned to normal. Normal meant noisy. Normal meant crowded. Normal meant Eli finally had his parcel containers loaded, while a customer from Vesta Colony demanded to know why a set of greenhouse couplings had missed its promised connection. Eli stood beside the Finch, with his terminal against his ear. "Yes, sir." A pause. "No, sir." Another pause. "I understand the delivery guarantee." Longer pause. Eli looked across the transfer floor. Sova and Kessa were coming out of medical. Kessa wore a clean station jacket that was far too large for her. The sleeves hung past her hands. Sova carried a small travel bag. "No, sir. I don't normally chase kidnappers during scheduled freight windows." The customer went silent. Eli smiled. "Yes, sir. That is what I said." He ended the call. Price walked over. "Did that work?" "No." "Fine. Half fee. Could be worse." Price handed him a station notice. Eli unfolded it. "Civil traffic violation review." He looked at Price. "You're really fining me. I told you I would. You're a terrible person." "Read the bottom." Eli did. "Fee suspended pending security cooperation credit." He folded the notice. "You enjoy this too much." "Yes." Across the deck, Kessa spotted Eli. Her face brightened. She started toward him. Sova said something. Kessa stopped, looked at her mother, then took her hand first. Only then did they walk over. Eli noticed. He liked that. "Mama say ship soon," Kessa announced. "New transport." Sova nodded. Security arranged passage to Halen 4 tomorrow. "No more orange ships," Kessa said. "Good policy." Kessa looked up at the Finch. "Your ship ugly." Eli stared at her. Sova looked horrified. "Kessa, what it ugly?" Price turned away, shoulders shaking. Eli pointed toward his ship. "That vessel has completed 27 years of reliable courier service." Kessa tilted her head. "Still ugly. Your child is very rude." Sova's eyes warmed. "She has had a difficult day. That excuse cannot last forever." "How long do I get?" Kessa asked. Eli considered. 3 days. "Good." She looked pleased. Then an announcement sounded across the transfer floor. Passengers for Habitat Ring 2 were asked to proceed to the lift corridor. Sova adjusted her travel bag. "We should go." Kessa did not move. She looked at Eli. "Bye." "Bye, Kessa." She raised one hand. Eli raised his. Then she turned away. No dramatic hesitation. No promise that she would remember him forever. No request that he come with them. She had the person she had wanted from the first moment. That was enough. Sova and Kessa moved into the crowd. For several seconds, Eli could still see the oversized station jacket. Then a cargo tractor passed between them. When it cleared, Kessa was farther away, still holding Sova's hand, talking constantly. Sova bent her head to hear her. Kessa pointed at something above them. A ship, a sign, maybe nothing important. They reached the lift corridor. The crowd thickened. Eli turned toward the Finch. Behind him, Kessa's voice rose over the station noise. Mama, strong, clear, not afraid. Eli looked back once. Sova was right beside her. Their hands were still joined. Then the cargo alarm on the Finch started beeping. Eli smiled and went back to work.